welcome back to Kim Talks Resilience. I'm your host, Kim Hayden. And if this is your first time joining you, woohoo! Thank you for taking time to invest in yourself, to fill the brim up with, amazing, insightful, and inspirational conversations that we have here at Kim Talks Resilience. By the way, get a chance, pop over to queenofresilience.shop. This is our online store. There's some fun stuff in there, a little bit of sass, some class. But you know what? Overall, you may find something in your new favorite shirt. Who knows? So today's guest is all about the smile, the happy, the deep, all the way through. And I'm really excited. What a great way to launch a week, midweek, end a week, but always invest in yourself. Antonia Banewicz, I think I got that, has over 20 years of training in corporate teaching experience, an MA in interpersonal communications, and has taught at NYU and Columbia University. She was also in the corporate world for many years as a director of learning and most notably as a chief people officer. She has gobs of life experience, therapy, 12-step programs, and 2 certifications. Mindset coach and science of happiness from UC Berkeley. She is a happiness coach and owner of Brighter, Better Days. She helps people who are feeling low or depressed find better days. She works with the science of happiness principles. You can benefit from her experience and training by getting her free book. And we're going to have all that information, but let's bring her in because you know what? I am so into, but just so you know, I love the beginning, Antonia. I love the beginning of your email because it's Aunt Banowitz, right? And
That's right.
and when I think ant, I think an ant can move the rubber tree plant. What can I say, folks? I'm going to start singing for you. That is literally what goes through my head. I know
Yeah,
people.
that's great. Yeah.
I'm sure somebody looks at it and they go,
We,
ants are bad for picnics. And me, I'm going, an ant can't move the rubber tree plant because he's got.
I
So yeah.
love it.
So
And when I put my email in, a little ant icon pops up that I can put in. Isn't that hysterical? A little ant comes up.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought of. As soon as I saw your email, I said, oh, well, that's an appropriate abbreviation for Antonia. So, okay. So what I love to do here is I like to start out with, who are you? Like, give me a little, not what you do, because we're going to get into that. We're going to get into your book and your programs. But who are you? What makes that little thing? It was, did you suck your thumb till you were 6? Do you have 6 toes on one foot? What makes Antonia uniquely Antonia?
Well, gosh, my life is a real tapestry. When you think about it, I've done so many different things. And I kind of think of my life as having 2 train tracks. One is the outer things that I actually did. And then underneath that is my inner life. And so there's quite a disparity there. But let me give you a brief overview of what I've done. And then we'll talk about the inner life. What I started off in Dallas, Texas, and then I moved to New York to be an actor. So I had a great time with that. I acted for several years, and I was in a lot of off Broadway plays and some commercials. I started some commercials and some small roles in soaps. So that was, I loved it. However, as I got older, I started getting real tired of waiting tables. So that's when I decided, I'm going to take my skills and try and transfer this somewhere else. So I went back and I got my master's degree, as you had mentioned, in speech and interpersonal communication. And I taught at NYU and Columbia. I taught public speaking and presentation skills. Oh, and speech communication and voice and diction. So I love doing that, but I wanted to get in the corporate world. So I moved into corporate. And as you had said, I became a chief people officer, at most notably. And all through my corporate experience, one thing I did was I did executive coaching. And I loved it. I loved the coaching process. because you get to work one on one with people and really look at what they need to move forward in their lives. So after that, being again that tapestry that I call my life, I decided that I wanted to go into my artistic side because I am an artist and I've drawn and painted for many years. So I actually started my own company as a home stager. I went completely off the path that I had been on. And I did home staging and I loved it. It was a good run. However, I'm always trying to find out where my best fit is, and my life is full of pivots. I've had to pivot a lot. So, as a home stager, I found myself missing the people connection because I was trying to go back to what I do the best. And I missed coaching. That's what it came down to. So I decided I'm phased out the company and I decided to go back to coaching, which I know and love. And I didn't know what kind of coaching. I started as an executive coach because that's what I knew. But I realized that I wanted to coach in something more meaningful. So that's when I decided, and I'll tell you why I decided, but I decided to become a happiness coach and coach people who are struggling to feel better about their days. And
And a lot of that, I think, comes from they say that we're one of the most disconnected, connected societies ever in the history.
yeah,
And when you sit in your own silo, human nature, human beings by nature can fixate on all the things that they view as wrong. It's very easy to get sucked down that rabbit hole. And if you
hmm
feel very alone, then there isn't a lot to pull you out of that. So that's kind of where you come in this
hmm
sphere. And then what's fascinating, you're not the first person that I've met that is specializing in the science of happiness.
wow,
And
really?
yes, we have a gal here in Calgary, and she has literally been in this path for 15 years. And it's interesting because this is a person that had lots of trauma in her life, and she
hmm
chooses every day to be happy. And I guess it is a choice, right?
Yeah, it really
It
is.
is.
It really is a choice. And also what you said, we do have a negativity bias. It's built in. We tend to, if we go through our day and something bad happens, like a colleague talks to us badly, and then we have a client who praises us, we'll remember the colleague talking badly to us more than the praise, because that's what the brain does. So we have to fight that. And there are tools to fight it. And, it's a very personal journey for me, quite frankly. This is the other path in my life. I've battled with depression for most of my life, even started young. I can't really say what the root of it was. My parents were good parents. However, I always felt like I didn't fit in. I always felt like something was missing. And it gave me quite a bit of sorrow. I remember at 16, I actually tried to commit suicide with the pills that I was addicted to. So that's, you can see kind of where my paths went. And I went through my life and I had, lots of good times, but I had times where I battled depression. And let me tell you, it is like a dark cave, and I get really panicky that I'll never get out of it. And I went through some traumatic times dealing with depression and being stuck. And I came to a point when I was a little older when I said to myself, there's got to be another way to live. There's got to be, and this can't keep happening. And I kind of accepted the depression and I went through it. I just said, okay, I'm not going to run from you anymore. You're here. And what I found is that a ray of gratitude started to come in. And I started to realize that there's so much that I can be grateful for in the midst of this depression. And it pulled me out. And I realized, okay, I'm going to study everything I can study, and I'm going to take every course I can take. I've been in therapy for, oh God, 20 years. I know all the therapy out there. So and I work with, I do work with therapists. Therapy is a great, I mean, I'm a good addition to a therapy uh, program. And so then I did my study. I found the science of happiness. These are tools that you can use to keep your, I think of them as happiness hygiene habits. They're things that we can
Okay.
do on a daily basis to actually keep our mind thinking more positively, keep our mind connected, do a mindset shift. And these tools I practice in my own life. I found them very helpful. Science has backed them up, so that's great. They've done studies. And there's a whole field of positive psychology out there. And, the Martin Seligman started that whole field, and it's become
What
quite
was it?
huge.
What is that? Orange Frog or something? There's a whole program, university program
Mhm.
around that. Is that correct? Orange Frog or something like that. For
Yeah,
some reason,
yeah, I
that's
think so.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I'm
that's
pretty sure
Selex,
that
I
is
think. Yeah.
right. Yeah.
So
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 yeah.
and they say that a negative and a positive cannot occupy the same space. So if you
Mm.
have a negative thought and a positive thought, they cannot literally coexist within your space. You've got to pick one or the other, right?
Yeah,
And
that's
we
right.
subconsciously pick that negative, and it's kind of like we're our own worst enemies in the sense that
Mhm.
we're really hard on ourselves. We
Oh,
believe all the crap we see on Instagram is real. And, all the crap. Like, seriously, folks, none of it's real. It's all best angles. Trust me, my husband has to take 20 pictures of me before I'll pick one for
yeah.
a post. So it's all best angles, best lighting, best of everything, but that's not real world. That's not real world. So let's go into I am interested really in regards to your online coaching and such, because
Mhm.
we this seems to be more of a phenomenon that has blown up in just the last few years due to the pandemic. But it sounds
Yeah.
to me like you've been at this much longer than just the
Well,
pandemic. So walk
yes.
me through what you do and how long you've been doing this.
Okay, I've been coaching for 7 years, but I've done the happiness coaching for 5. I
Okay.
did a pivot and chose to do that. Now, what I started with, I didn't know happiness coaching. I didn't know if anybody would be interested, but there was an interest, and I was able to build my business. And what I do is I work with people on Zoom or even over the phone. Some people don't want Zoom, and we work, have our sessions, and I offered a couple of different programs, and we work through what is going on in your life and applying the happiness tools. So it's not all about happiness tools. We also get into what is going on in your life. For instance, and you had talked about Facebook likes. I have a client now who is really caught up in the likes that she gets on Facebook. And so we're working through that because you do think Facebook's reality, and you see I didn't get many likes. What happened? Or so and so got likes. So it's all so many things mess with our mind. They really do, and it's all about trying to reframe our thinking because we all have these negative thoughts. We work a lot with getting the negative thoughts out, reframing them, and working with thinking differently and doing the tools. Now, one of the basic tools, and probably everybody's heard this, but it works, is gratitude. And they've done studies on gratitude. It's one of the top things to work with. And what that means is you start feeling, finding things that you're grateful for, and you get that feeling of gratitude. And what's very important is that you journal it. It's really a journaling process at the end of your day, for instance, or it could be the beginning. But you sit down and you start to journal 3 things, let's say, that you're grateful for. Now, they did a study at American Express with a group of participants, and they did a study where they had to write down 3 gratitudes for 21 days. And they thought, well, this is going to be really life changing. Let's take a look. Well, nothing happened. Nothing changed in the participants' positivity. And they were like, they didn't understand why. So they went back to the participants and they found out that they were all writing down things like, I love my job, I love my husband, I love my dog. And they were doing the same thing for 21 days. Okay, so they redid the experiment. And I think a lot of people do that. They write down the same thing each day. And what they told them is to write down three things each day and make them different things for 21 days. And at the end of 21 days, they had 63 things that they're grateful for that they had written down. And they found in doing this study that high level pessimists actually became low level optimists. And do you know how hard it is to change a pessimist into an optimist? I mean, that is an incredible thing. Yeah. And then Columbia continued the study and they moved into moderate level optimists. So that's an example of a very simple thing that we know. But if you do it and do it in the right way, and you have to get that feeling state, you have to write down why you're grateful, it can really be powerful.
Absolutely. They say breathing, gratitude or affirmations.
Hmm.
And what was the third thing? Oh, hydration. Breathing, hydration, and gratitude are the three critical things you should do every morning. Human
Oh,
brain
yeah.
makes 35,000 decisions in a single day. The human brain. So when we're hitting the bed, we're tired. And
Yeah.
if you're actively making the choice to be positive and treat yourself kindly, you're going to add more to that. So making sure you take those moments to take care of your body and your brain is really important. Um, when you started down this path, so right now, what is it? We had this huge resignation generation happen. So when we came
Hmm.
out of the pandemic, we had a lot of women over 40 did not want to go back to corporate America. And yet, now 6 months later, something like 29% of those women have gone back and gotten a job because there was this challenge around building an online business. And I want everybody to know out there, we have a lot of women who are leaders, speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs, authors, all that's what this Kim Talks Resilience is about. And there's room for everybody. How many billions of people are on this earth, right? We're only the tip of the iceberg. This is their, what is it? An estimated $125 billion industry by 2025.
Wow.
So
Yes.
there's room. There's room. There's room. I mean, Antonia is doing her part. She's living in Mexico, a little bit less cost of living, a little bit higher
Yeah.
level of standard, right?
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to make $1 million or $5 million a year in order to have a successful business. And if you do, that's awesome too. But
Hmm.
when I'd like to take a look at how you chose to structure your business and and how you find your clients and align with the right people.
Yeah, well, a word of mouth is the number one, well, not the number one way, but a main way of finding clients. I do a lot of work on social media, and that way I can connect with people all over the country, and then I'm now connecting with people all over the world. And social media, there are a number of things that I do: Facebook ads, postings, videos. That's very effective. So there are different things that you can do. And, like you were saying, a lot of people are not wanting to go to corporate. They're wanting to start their own thing. So entrepreneurship is really becoming a thing to do. A lot of people are doing it. It's not necessarily easy. I'm not going to tell you that it is,
No,
but it can be done where you can live very, very well and you can actually help people with whatever it is your skill set, whatever that, bring that to the table. It's
bring
so
that to the
powerful.
table. Absolutely.
Yes.
So
Hmm.
let's tackle entrepreneurs and in happiness. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's actually take somebody and walk me through how you could be of service to somebody who is, in a fear state, who has
Hmm.
left the security of a paycheck, and but they're a little fired up, they're pretty excited, but they're also really afraid, and we know fear can is actually counterintuitive to happiness.
Yes.
What are some of the things that what are the top 3 things that you would serve somebody who's going through a huge transition in their life and their security or their foundation is a bit shaken, and they're like 3 feet from gold. They just need to keep pushing through. So what are the top 3 things you would work with them on?
Okay, I would work with them on setting goals. Let's say 3 months out, whatever is a good timeline for them, and then breaking that down into action steps. And we would work through that and coach through that and talk about that. That's one thing. Another thing I do is look at the fear. Fear is a choice. We can either choose fear or love in our lives. And I would talk about that. We'd work on that. But the other thing I would do is fear in starting a new business. It's this like a fear in public speaking. It's that is it going to work? What am I going to do? I'm nervous. And if you can take that fear and transform it into that positive, you need that nervous energy to make things work. It's okay. Turn it into that positive force. Then that can really change. So you work with the energy that's come up. You transform it so it's not bad. Oh my God, what am I going to do? You're telling yourself all these negative thoughts. But we change that to you're using that energy to propel yourself forward. It's really very exciting energy if you transform it. I find it to be exciting as hell. It's great.
Excellent. So, choosing to manifest your anxiety, your fear into
Hmm.
the energy to propel you forward, right? That
Yeah,
that is, and that is a choice. I mean, um, eh, emotions are not bad nor good. They are,
that's right.
right?
Uh-huh.
I
Hmm.
know a lot of people, say anger is a bad emotion. Well, it depends on how you use it. For some people, that
Hmm.
anger is what you need to fuel yourself to get to the next level.
Uh-huh.
It's not a space that you want to be in for the rest of your life, but sometimes it's better to be angry than to be a victim. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
so um, tell us a little bit about like what I'd like to know from you because you've had a really unique journey, and I understand that not feeling like you fit in. I
Hmm.
mean, it's interesting because my sisters and I, if you met all 4 of us, you would go, "How are you guys even related?" Even though we look alike and we sound alike, the
Uh-huh.
reality is we are so uniquely different, each one of us,
Hmm.
and yet each one of us thinks the other fits in better, and each one of us feel that we
Of
don't fit
course.
in. Isn't that
Uh-huh.
it's very, very interesting. Um, when we look at your journey to get where you are, you got tired of
Hmm.
waiting tables. You
Hmm.
you and I think it's fascinating that you did the home staging and that you're an actress, so you've had this really robust life. I love how you use
Hmm.
the term tapestry. Would you share time
Hmm.
that without resiliency we wouldn't be having this conversation, you wouldn't be where you are?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you. I already told you that I battled depression throughout my life. However, because of the depression, I turned to alcohol and pills, and I started abusing them. And I had to quit and become sober. And that was a life-changing moment. I had to realize that I had hit bottom and I was powerless. And I had to turn it over to my spiritual connection. And that became very important to me, a spiritual connection. I'm not Christian. I don't, it's not anti-Jesus. I love Jesus, but I'm not particularly Christian or any religion. But I am a spiritual person working with science of mind principles. That's part of what I do, and I had to change and become. I had to stop that, and I shot forward when I stopped that. I really did. I was faking it okay. I mean, I was in the corporate world doing pills and alcohol. I was making it work. It was amazing. However, it got out of control. And that's when my life changed. And that's really around the time where I decided I wasn't going to be depressed anymore either, that there was no room for that. And I pivoted big time. I had to pick myself up from the dust and continue onward. And I did. And I'm happier. I mean, I can't believe how happy I am right now, quite frankly. It's kind of, yeah.
Well,
I moved to
you're in
Mexico.
sunny Mexico, so
Yeah, I
you've
know.
got awesome weather. I'm here in Calgary. We're about ready to go back into the deep freeze. Um,
Oh, wow. Yes, right.
it's interesting that you say that around the pills and alcohol is Mel Robbins. She is the highest paid female speaker globally right now,
Mm-hmm.
and she talks about in one of her books how she got to the point where she was dreading just getting out of bed,
Mm-hmm.
and finances had overran her, and their family was in despair. She was fighting, and she was, drinking. I think she said she was drinking like half a bottle or a bottle of wine a night, and
Uh-huh.
you
Yeah,
know, and she said as soon as she quit, and she got control. That that's when things really started turning around for her.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I think that's very interesting that is and I think we all have. So I was talking to a gal, and we all
Mm-hmm.
have these. If you were to pick 5 or 6 pivotal points in your life and write
Mm-hmm.
the entire story, those who lead, like yourself, they tend to have those 5 pivotal points are these massive stories in and of themselves.
Yeah.
And yet when
Yeah.
you put it together, you get this like almost this, encyclopedia full of content and life lessons. And me, I always joke that a moment with me can either be an inspirational story or a cautionary tale. It just depends on how you want to take it,
I
folks.
love that. That is
you know
great. Yeah. Uh-huh.
so so what is it? So talk about books. So let's talk books you recommend.
Oh, well, one book I'd recommend is The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, and it was on the New York Times bestseller list, so a lot of people know about that book. But it's really good because he gives you like a step-by-step guide to spirituality. He really helps you. He talks about the voice in your head and how it chatters on, and how we're not the voice in our heads. We're actually the entity that listens to that voice. And he talks about what to do with that, how to cope with that, opening up your heart. We tend to shut our hearts down, and that's when we don't have joy in our lives. We don't have peace. And he talks about opening your heart starts to bring that joy and peace in. So he really talks about being happy from a spiritual level. It's a great read.
Amazing. um and you have programs, so let's talk about what you offer. So go
Okay.
through your program. So how do you, I mean, how do we find you? Like, is there anything that we can do that's self-guided? Is everything direct engagement? Is there downloadables that we can access? What's
Yeah,
available?
if you go to my website, brighterbetterdays.com, you can get a free happiness secrets guide. You can put your name and email in, and you get the guide right away. I offer programs where we work one-on-one for 4 sessions. I'm building a program because I'm starting to realize that 4 sessions isn't long enough for a lot of people. So I'm starting to build a longer program as well. I have a Smart Start program, and that's a program where you get a session for an hour and a half. You do some of the work, and then you come back for another 45 minutes. It's a Smart Start, but it's been really successful. I find that I've had a lot of change just in that short time with folks and their attitude. I've worked with a lot of people that were down and out, and they found it to be very helpful. And so it really does bump start you. And then also I'm working on creating a video. a video program, a video training of the tools so that people can actually attend that. So that's a big project I'm working on right now.
Oh, amazing. So it just
Yeah.
becomes more accessible. So,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah,
Different
that
price points, different offerings. Yep.
absolutely, absolutely. What is a quote that you live your life by or that really resonates with you?
Um, let's see. Let me think. Let me see if I love this quote. Let me see if I can remember it. Only when we discover the darkness are we able to then see the power of our light. That's by Brene Brown. And
Ah,
I
I
I
love
love
Brene Brown. I love
yeah,
that gal.
isn't she fantastic? Yeah, I've read a lot of her stuff. And it's so true. When you're ready to see the darkness, a lot of people don't acknowledge it. Sometimes you have to acknowledge it to get through it. The only way forward is through, the only way out is through. So it's a great quote. And then you do see the power of your light. And that's what this work is all about, helping people to see how powerful they are and what a light they are in the world. It's about giving
And
service.
mentorship and community are critical. Mentorship
Hmm.
and community are critical. And in the world today where so much is being consumed by negativity and name calling. Like I don't know I mean you and I'm older, so I'm in my 50s.
Oh, I'm
Um
in my 60s. I'm 63.
okay, so but we weren't raised to name call or
I
finger
know.
point, right? Well, I was always told,
Yeah.
Kimberly Joe, when you point a finger, three point back at you. Like, these are the things that I was taught. And I think a lot of people are so wrapped up in the negativity that they're
Yeah.
projecting outward, it's actually corroding them inward.
Oh, that's
And
that's great. Yes, absolutely.
so I'm going to, in the words of one of the favorite gals that I locally interviewed, she is oh, Erin, what's Erin's last name? She was the Olympic gold medalist wrestler for the Rio Olympics, and basically, she said she now coaches also, and she goes, the the coach you go to the Olympics with is not always going to be the coach you start with, but you have to start somewhere, folks. You
Uh-huh.
have to get that mentorship and invest in yourself. We're so busy
Hmm.
trying to get the next fancy car or the next fancy pair of shoes or something like that, that we tend to forget to invest in ourselves.
Oh,
When
yeah.
when we talk about investing in yourself, I just want to wrap this out. So we have the three tips of moving through the fears and things like that. What's one or two things that you think people should do every single day consciously in order just to feel a little bit happier?
Well, I think, the gratitude is definitely one, but let's talk about a couple of others that are powerful as well. I think that working with our negative thoughts and transforming them into positive thoughts and really working with those positive affirmations because we have so much negativity and negative talk in our heads. We have to actually change the brain chemistry by putting in our positive thoughts. It works, but you literally have to change it and you have to do it. So that's one thing. Another thing is connecting with others. I would say that we tend to isolate when we're down, when we're troubled. We don't want to connect with others, but it's opening the heart and reaching out and connecting with others, sending an email that says something that's good about that person. That's another study that was done. It's powerful. So I would say connect with others, see what's good in others, and see where you can praise them. People don't get praised enough. If you're praising, you're making somebody else happy, and you know what? Your happiness level goes up too. It really does. So get off yourself and think about someone else. Connect.
Get off yourself and think about someone else. So be sure to connect. You know
Yeah,
what? This is amazing work that you're doing, and I want everybody to take a moment, make sure that you're following Antonia. We're going to have all of her socials in our blog posting and such. Um, Find her, connect with her at uh, better, no, brighter, better days.
that's
Brighter,
right.
better days. I love that. And by the way, just so you know, her email is awesome because it says ant. And when I think of ants, I think of the ant can move around for tree plants. He's got high hopes. Just remember, folks, I am
I
singing for
hope.
you. Yes.
Yeah,
So,
that's great.
meaning that the smallest, most minuscule creature on this earth can move anything. So you too can move your life. You too can move
Yeah.
everything. So, alrighty. I am super grateful for your time, Antonia. I feel better just sharing with you and getting your energy and hearing your laughter, as I'm sure your clients are also, and those
Oh,
who
thank you.
benefit from sharing space with you and time with you. So, speaking of sharing time and space, you know what? If you ever feel that your resiliency is lagging just that wee bit, I want you to take a moment and go to resilientgift.com. And in here is our free all access pass that gets you the monthly magazine. It gets you kind of any behind the scenes of what we're doing when we're doing events, any videos, anything along those lines. And I promise you this, there will never be a sneaky renewal fee. There will never be an ask for this. This is my gift to you for sharing your time because I value your time. And you know what? Until the next time, I want you to take care of yourself. Remember, turn that frown upside down. I'm Kim Hayden, your host here at Kim Talks Resilience.